Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to another CDLB-SIDE. Oh boy. So I just got done doing a quick patrol, salting a few icy areas. When I came in for my shift, this guy was telling me about a situation that happened where a contract company was working on the road. They had dug like this 10-foot hole, and they didn't finish what they were doing, so they put a steel plate the over the hole. They put like two steel plates like this over the hole, and I guess as cars were driving over it, the plates like it shifted, and one of the plates that fell into the hole, it's like a corner of the plate was like sticking out, and it was jacking up people's cars. I think like 5 cars got damaged. So whether or not it was our road or not, I know that we weren't the ones working on the road. But whether or not it was our road or not, don't really know. Probably was. I think from the area he was telling me about it, I think it probably was our road. Because one of the things about working for, Department of Transportation, we mainly work on state roads. So sometimes you might see like on a light pole or something like that, like kind of like off to the side, you'll see like something like SR, and then there's a number, and usually that means like state road, and then it's whatever number that road is. So there are certain roads that are, our roads, and then there's certain roads that belong to like either the city or the township or whatever. So, but when you're working at night, most of the time, if there's a problem with a road, everybody, they call, they call the PennDOT, the PA, Department of Transportation, they call PennDOT for it. So, and a lot of times we got to go out there anyway to, check on it and see what the issue is. So, yeah, so that was a situation that happened tonight. They had to block off the road and, try to fix the steel plates and all that. And, yeah, so I thought I was going to be doing that tonight, but instead I was told to drive around, do a patrol, look for ice. I found a few icy spots. I threw some salt on them, and it's supposed to be like the high 40s tomorrow. So, when the sun comes out, those spots will melt, and all shall be right with the world. But it got me thinking about my first time plowing. It's a couple months ago. I'm sorry, not a couple months ago, about 2 months ago. It's my first time plowing. And man, that was horrible. Yeah, folks, my first time plowing was absolutely horrible. Hold up a second. I'm gonna put my seat down real quick. You're gonna hear this hiss. I'm gonna put my seat down. There we go. All right. So my first time plowing. And yeah, it was a crap show right there, my first time. Because I had to come in early. Everybody came in early, so everybody's here. So usually on this night shift, I'm completely by myself. So from like midnight to 8 a.m., there's no one here. It's just me. And so, but when you have a snow emergency, and I believe the state had declared like a code blue because it was like a big storm coming in. So when you have like a snow emergency, everybody comes in. You got to put the plows on the trucks. They're making sure that they got the spreaders on the back. You just want to make sure everything is working. Well, when I came in, they had already put a plow on my truck, and then they found out that the plow that they had put on my truck wasn't the right plow for that truck. So I had to drive to the main yard to get the right plow. And that's a couple miles away. It's about a 20-minute drive over to the main yard. 25 minutes actually to get over to like the main yard. So that was the first thing that was going wrong, was I had to make my way over to this yard. So I get over there and I get the right plow on, and then I got to drive back over to the main yard. My foreman calls me and says, you don't need to come back to the yard. You already got salt on. So just go ahead and go on your route and start salting your route. Well, I get ready and I start doing that. Now, my route is broken up into 2 parts. So I got one section, and then I got to go a couple miles down the highway to my next section. And mind you, barely knew how to drive manual, and they got me in a manual truck. and it's my first time salting and plowing, like ever. So my first part of my route is absolutely horrible if you're new at driving manual. You know, if you're new at driving trucks, if you're new at driving manual, if you're new at salting and plowing, I don't know why they put me on this route. Because the first part of my route, it's 2-lane road. So you got traffic going this way, traffic coming the other way. So it's a small 2-lane road. The plows are wider than the truck. So you gotta like really like maneuver them and watch where your plow is, because on 2-lane roads, the plow is just slightly bigger, like slightly wider than the lane. So the only grace was that it was late night, so nobody else was on the road, so I could, you know, I had space, and these were like back road areas, so nobody really drove on these roads. It wasn't too much traffic coming and going on these roads. But this area that I'm in, it's basically nothing but hills and curves. I mean, it's like sharp up hills, sharp down hills, and every hill had a sharp curve. So, meaning as though the ground was like, it was wet, but snow wasn't sticking just yet. I was able to make it through all of that, you know, pretty fine, pretty okay. Then I had to drive down the highway, and I get to my next spot. And as I'm going down the highway, the snow starts coming down real heavy. And I get to my next spot, and I start salting my next area. And, you know, the snow's getting pretty deep, but it's not deep enough to drop the plow yet, because we don't drop our plows until you get about 1 inch of snow on the ground. Because if you drop your plow and you got less than an inch of snow, you're just scraping the road. You're not actually moving any snow off the road. So I'm driving down this one street, and I look out my side mirror and I see these headlights coming, right? And the snow is coming down heavy at this point, and I got my plow down every now and then, because even though the snow is coming down, there's some spots where the snow is low, there's some spots where the snow is like a little bit higher. So every now and then I'm dropping my plow and picking it up and dropping it down. So I look out my side mirror, I see these headlights coming up on me. They're coming up pretty fast, but I'm like, I got my strobes on, I got my flashers on, I'm lit up like a Christmas tree. This guy or whoever it is gonna slow down. So I keep on driving. And then my spidey sense starts tingling. And I look in the side mirror. And sure enough, now I see these headlights, and they're right on the back of my truck. And I just turn, grab the steering wheel, and I brace for impact. And sure enough, boom, I get hit in the back. And this guy, he hit me so hard that the truck slid forward a little bit. I let go of the brakes. I let the truck, roll probably about, probably like a foot, and then I hit the brakes again and stop it. Put it in neutral, pop the brakes on, and as I'm getting out of the truck, I see 2 guys running. And once again, spidey sense goes off, and I'm like, those are the guys that were in that truck, that were in that car that just hit me. So I'm yelling at them, where are you going? Get back here. They run down the street, and then they cut up another street. So I go to the back of my truck and I look at the car, and this car is smashed. This car is done. These 2 guys, they got out and they ran. They left the doors of the car open. The front of their car, like I said, was smashed. Their hood was like pushed back up into like a triangle. The radiator was pushed back to the engine, and yeah, this car was bad. I look at the back of my truck. They broke the glad hands on the back of my truck, and they broke my spreader, and that was pretty much the gist of all the damage. And I think they broke like my license plate light, because on the back of my truck I have a pintle hook on the back of my truck. That's what we use for like towing trailers and things like that. So this car sat low enough that it got underneath my salt box, so it kind of just came in like that, and so it definitely hit that pintle hook. And that's probably what did a lot of damage to their car. So I called the police to give the police the brief description that I had on. Because like I said, it was snowing pretty heavy at this point, and it was dark. So I gave them a brief description of the 2 people. They left their car running. and I saw some smoke coming out, so I got inside the car and I turned it off real quick because I didn't want anything to start catching on fire or anything like that. And yeah, and then I called my foreman. When I got off with the police, I called my foreman. My foreman shows up, the police show up. These two guys, they got out and they took off so fast that they left their cell phones in the car. You know, they left all their personal stuff inside the car. The police ran the license plate, found out who the driver was, no insurance on the car. And it turns out that the police were already looking for the driver of that vehicle because he had fled the scene of another crime that happened earlier that night. So, yeah, so that was just a whole thing. The foreman tells me, well, you got to get your spreader fixed because you got to continue salting and plowing. So I had to go back to the main yard again. And this time I was further away. So now from going from like a 20-25 minute drive to now a 30-35 minute drive. So get back over to the main yard. They fixed the spreader, put it back on. Now I got to go back out to my route again. So now I got to go back out to the first part of my route, which is the real hilly area and a horrible area. So as I'm going up this hill, and I'm in like fourth gear, you know, and I'm going up this hill, and this truck, as it's going up the hill, eventually you get to this point where the tires just start spinning. It can't go. So I'm like, man, I'm stuck. Like, and I'm in like full panic mode now as I'm stuck. So I hit the brakes and I hit my clutch, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the truck in low gear, and maybe that'll help me get up the hill. So as I go to so I hit the brakes, I hit the clutch, and I go to put the truck in low gear, and then the truck starts sliding. I mean, it's not rolling back, it's sliding backwards. So now now the panic is really starting to set in. But me being, you know, the great strategist that I am, I turn the wheel, and so the back of the truck hits the side of a hill because I was on a hill going uphill, and the truck was sliding backwards. So one side was like this, I guess they call it the hill face or whatever, and the other side is a guardrail and then a drop. So I'm like, I don't want to slide over towards this guardrail, so I'm going to try to turn the truck in a way in which I can slide towards this hill. And sure enough, the truck hit the back of the hill and it rested on the back of the hill. So I'm like, okay, now that the truck is stopped, now I can put it in low gear. Now I can go up this hill. Well, I didn't realize that two of my tires got stuck in a ditch. So now I'm in some deep trouble here. So I call the foreman up and I tell him, yeah, I'm on such and such road. I'm stuck in a ditch. So he's like, all right, I'll be out there, but he has some other things to do. So now I'm like, listen, it's cold. I'm not staying out here. I'm going to try to get myself out of here. So I try putting the low gear, trying to get out, can't get out. So I get the wise idea to take some salt off the back of the truck. You know, I had a shovel. So I took some salt off the back of the truck, and I'm, you know, putting it on the road, putting it all around the tires and everything, hoping that I can melt enough of this snow and this ice that I can get some traction and I can get going. Well, none of that worked. And eventually the foreman shows up. So he shows up, he hops in there, he tries to do the same thing I did. Doesn't work. So then he finally decides to chain the truck up to his crew cab, and he pulls it out. All right. So now the truck is out. Then he says, hop in on the passenger side. You know, he parks his truck. I hop in on the passenger side. He gets on the driver's side, and he's like, listen, I'm going to show you how to do this. I mean, just watch what I do. I'm going to give you a few tips. He was like, and then he says, like, because I realize this is your first time ever, you know, plowing. And yeah, this route can be a pain for, you know, first timers, newcomers. This route can be a pain. And yeah, he taught me quite a few things about, you know, plowing and moving the snow off to the side and how to get up and down the hill and, you know, the right gears you should be in for this particular route and everything. And so, you know, and the other guys in the box, they took care of other parts of my route. You know, I think each guy took like a different road of my route because they found out what happened to me. So, you know, and so everybody kind of pulled through and really helped me out, you know, and that's one of the things I like about this place is that, you know, it's a union job. we're union brothers. We all help each other out. Everybody's looking out for each other. And yeah, those guys, they really came through for me that day. My second time plowing though, yeah, I went in. I mean, my second time plowing, I got it down packed, perfect. Road was clear, road was dry, and it was heavy snow. I mean, I think the second time I plowed, the snow was actually heavier than the first time. But yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from that first time. So when I went out there the second time, I was like, it ain't gonna happen to me again. And yeah, and I got the job done, and I got everything cleared up. And yeah, everything went super well. The foreman even came up to me and said, wow, I was like, I didn't expect you to do such a good job, for your second time. I was figuring like maybe a few more times of plowing. Yeah, I mean, you would get it down packed, but you actually, got it right your second time around. So, but one of the things that I noticed is that if you plow and you do every single thing right, I mean, you're clearing, you're getting that, you're getting the snow moved off to the side, you got your salt going behind you, the road's getting cleared up, getting nice dry areas and everything like that. Everything's going super well. If you plow and everything is going right, it is the most boring thing in the entire world. Plowing is so boring when everything goes right. It is so boring. I mean, because you're going slow. Yeah, you're moving a plow, but you're just watching the snow fly off to the side. You're looking, making sure that your salt's coming out. And you're just doing this slow ride down the road. And man, is it boring. Oh, man, it is so boring. And you're doing the same roads over and over and over again. Yeah, so, I mean, if any of you guys are, working with a company that does plowing and stuff like that, know this. When it's all going right and it's all going good, you are going to be bored out of your mind. Man, plowing is boring. I mean, the hill got a little exciting because, I mean, it's always something going up these steep hills and going down them. But, once I had it figured out, even that got boring, going up and down those hills over and over again, just making sure the snow was pushed off to the side. It is so boring. Oh, man. Another thing you got to watch out for when you're plowing is, like I said, the plow is wider than the truck. So another thing you got to watch out for is hitting people's mailboxes. Sorry. But I don't think that's an issue. You know what I mean? I don't really see that as a big issue. I think the bigger issue is people don't maintain their mailboxes. Like, here's the thing, right? Okay, so if you live in like a rural area, right, where you don't have a sidewalk, okay, so it's the street and then your lawn. I mean, it's the street, then your lawn, okay? If your mailbox is leaning out like this and you know that there's a snow plow that plows your street, expect your mailbox to get hit. Just expect your mailbox to get hit. Your mailbox should not be hanging over the road, because most plow truck drivers, they're told you have to get the snow curb to curb. So if you don't have a sidewalk and it's just a road, then your lawn, and you got your mailbox sitting at the edge of your lawn, and I've seen this plenty of times because I knocked over one mailbox and I felt really bad about it. But at the same time, though, I knew that it wasn't like I was too far over and I hit the mailbox, because I could see, like the line of snow where my plow had hit. So, I mean, that kind of indicated to me that this person's mailbox was more like leaning over to the side of the road. So if you live on that type of road, make sure your mailbox isn't leaning over to the side. You know what I mean? Because the thing about it is, I know, like, as it rains and soil and all that stuff, eventually over the time, your mailbox is going to start leaning like this. Maintain your mailbox. Pick it back up so that it's straight up in the air and it's not over the road and it's on your property. Like, because then these same people, they get mad and they want to call PennDOT and they make the complaint and, oh, you got to get me a new mailbox, this and that. I mean, and I'm like, no, you need to maintain your mailbox. We're going to come through plowing, so if you know that you got heavy snow and you're going to come through plowing, go out and take a look at your mailbox. Look to see if your mailbox is hanging over too much over to the road, and then, do something to pick it back up, or lean it back so it's not hanging over. I mean, or else a plow's gonna come through and probably, take your mailbox away. I'm just saying. But, to each their own. People do what they want to do. Yeah. But that's what I got for you guys today. Sorry it's such a long video, but, I figured I'd get that story out. And like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.